again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Wheel of Albums. With my brother Adam and our friend Jack, I am Justin. What we do here on Wheel of Albums is we spin a wheel of the 1001 albums you must hear before you die. We listen to that album for a few times during the week, and then we get back to you and let you know if we think it's an album you must hear before you die. Hey, it's the first Monday in April, and lucky for us, we spun 1986's album, Talk Talk, and The Color of Spring. Yeah, look at that.
For this week, I've decided to immerse myself in all things spring. In the distance, I hear the faint sound of a lawnmower going. I hear birds chirping. I see dandelions coming up out of my grass.
This warm air feels good. The wind. And oh my God, there's another tornado warning.
Because this week, we're going to talk about Talk Talk, The Color of Spring.
All right, my initial reaction with The Color of Spring is, I know life's what you make it. I used to love that video whenever I saw it on MTV whenever I was younger. Don't know anything else about this album. The earlier singles I do know are synth-pop. I know Spirit of Eden, the album after this. I know that's a jazzed up affair. Nothing at all like those early singles. This is the album that transitions to that jazzed up affair. Is it going to be full of goodies? We're about to find out. Brother Adam.
I'm feeling nothing but sorrow going in to the listening of this album. I just feel bad for Talk Talk because they have to be the next album after REM's Murmur. Good luck, Talk Talk. I'm going to try not to compare you to Murmur, but it's going to be hard.
Jack, what say you?
I knew Talk Talk because I had a compilation album of them. I believe it was called Natural History. I bought it because I liked the songs Dum Dum Girl and It's My Life. Not unfamiliar with Talk Talk. I figured it was going to have that very distinctive singer. Looking forward to it.
All right, like I alluded to before, The Color of Spring is the transitional album between their earlier stuff and their later, let's call it art rock sound. And not knowing much besides those singles, do you think this is like jumping into a novel halfway through? Do you think there would be a better place to maybe get to know Talk Talk better? Like maybe a greatest hits album?
So you mean to tell me between the experimentation of Pink Floyd and Radiohead in the 90s, we had an 80s band called Talk Talk that tried to do the same thing? That was my initial thought after listening to the first half of The Color of Spring, is that they're throwing a lot of musical ideas and experimentation out. Listening to The Color of Spring is kind of like jumping into listening to Radiohead with OK Computer. The experimentation and their idea of trying to open up their sound and get away from what made them with synth pop music is a big swing.
I really didn't notice Where's the Synth. I think the song April 5th may be the most prominent use of a tambourine that we've had on the Wheel of Albums so far. That's Adam's genre.
Even if I find The Color of Spring is mired in 1986 production, I do find that there is a lot of stuff like tambourines and such going on here to keep her interested.
I would say these songs are more timeless than the other the previous Talk Talk songs that I was familiar with. But the rest of the Talk Talk earlier catalog is kind of very stuck in its time. And these have a growth and a longevity. Kudos to Mr. Hollis, who was directing this transition.
So Justin and Jack, I don't know about you guys, but I love me some rock music with synthesizers.
No, here comes John Bon Jovi again.
But I also think musically this album kind of sounds fresh, an awakening of possibilities with more instruments of where Talk Talk wanted to go. It's a new beginning for the band.
Living in Another World and Life's What You Make It are by far my two favorite songs on this album. There's only 8 songs on here, so the other 6, I guess in a way, have to pick up the slack to make this a blockbuster affair or something that I'd want to keep going back to. I like the sound of this album, Mark Hollis' voice. I like his lyrics, but there's a disconnect I have with The Color of Spring that I just can't put my finger on. Every positive feeling was followed by a negative feeling.
To use a Pittsburgh Pirate baseball reference, since baseball season just started up, Life Is What You Make It and Living in Another World on this album are just huge grand slam swing for the Allegheny River swings. And, it's like Talk Talk hitting a 500-foot blast into the Allegheny River. And fun fact on that, that's only happened 84 times at PNC Park.
We're going to the World Series.
Go Buccos.
Now, I'm usually more the musical, while my brother is more the lyrical. Moments upon moments on this album have really made me smile. The children's choir at the beginning. On the first song, song Happiness is Easy. And it seems Adam and Jack have polar reactions to this.
I think it takes any song to another level. I'll go, was it Martika? Did she have one with a children's choir?
Step by step.
Toy Soldiers or something like that. Children's choir raises your song to the next level. Without that children's choir, I don't know if it would last.
Has a song ever worked with the children's choir? The only two songs that I can think of that worked were Another Brick in the Wall and You Can't Always Get What You Want. And sorry, Talk Talk, you guys are not Pink Floyd or the Rolling Stones. I think you earn a big fat Paul Skeen strikeout.
Let's go Bucks!
For trying that on Happiness is Easy, especially as an opening track.
And I'm with Adam. I think Happiness is Easy is overly longer than it should be. The children's choir on there is just like a bad product placement. Like we're expanding, and look what we've done here. We've added some children to our sound. But something I do like about Happiness is Easy, and just about any Talk Talk song, is the purity of Mark Hollis's voice.
Regardless of the beat, the tempo, the urgency of the music, his voice brings slow motion. And this may be a first use of the word on Wheel of Albums. It's ethereal. You could be in the middle of a disco song. Hollis comes in. Hello. Everything slows down around him. Now you can, you're seeing in 5 dimensions.
And can I just say, when the harmonica breaks in on Living in Another World, blast that song off to another level. My favorite song of the entire album.
Yeah, I actually looked to see and make sure Stevie Wonder didn't stop by for an appearance on that one. Because Stevie in the 80s, you never knew where he was going to end up, Cosby Show. Talk Talk album. And then I discover Steve Winwood plays on Living in Another World. That organ.
Steve Winwood actually making a guest organ appearance on Happiness is Easy, I Don't Believe in You, and Living in Another World.
I mean, between Back in the High Life Again album and here he is here, Steve Winwood was having a banner year in 1986.
The thing that sticks out to me on this album, I'm not crazy about the track length of each of the song. Only song that I believe only one clocks in under 4 minutes, and that's more of a listen to my voice song. Fillers on old Tim Buckley records kind of had that, where it's just do that thing with your voice where you just do all kinds of vocal gymnastics.
That's so Buckley-esque.
And that is kind of what Chameleon Day is.
I certainly didn't think I would love, and I mean absolutely love, the last 2 minutes of Time It's Time. And I just saw a post that some people think that Talk Talk is still playing in a studio somewhere, making that epic sound of the last 2 minutes of that song. And now I officially love the instrument called the melodica, which is a portable handheld instrument with a piano-style keyboard that produces sound by blowing air through a mouthpiece. Do, 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 do. I love it.
So the title of this album is The Color of Spring, which brings to mind springtime. And I was wondering if Ian's had a go-to spring album. This album does hint at something new, which was true as far as Talk Talk sound went. And spring can sometimes be thought of as that too. A new beginning. For me personally, Rubber Soul by the Beatles makes me think of spring. I don't know why. There's just something about that whole album that makes me feel it's spring again.
I like listening to guilty pleasure, big anthemic rock type albums. The Killers' Sam's Town, or maybe Pyromania by Def Leppard.
I had never considered the question, do I have a go-to spring album? Does something sound better in the spring than it does in the fall or winter? And this is The Color of Spring. Hey, also the OUR, on the verge of, shall we say, clever. But I've come up with Masters of Reality's debut album that starts off with Theme from the Scientists of the Invisible. And I love that you asked that question, because now I got to dig deep and reorganize all of my catalog records in my brain to seasons.
Mark Hollis, Talk Talk's lead singer, said he never really liked synths to begin with, and they were used on the first albums because of economic reasonings. I guess it gives a fuller sound without paying more musicians to make that sound for you.
So in other words, synths made them the money. The money gave them Steve Winwood and a newfound creative spirit in the studio.
Kudos to Mr. Hollis, who was directing this transition.
This album is very tight as far as how we scored it. All very similar. Adam a 6.125, Jack with a 6. I gave it a 6.376 for an overall final rating of 6.166. Our 3 favorite songs: Life's What You Make It, number 1. Number 2, Living in Another World. And number 3, Gotta Give It Up. Our least favorite song, Chameleon Day, scored 11 points.
Gotta get a second chance.
Now's the part of the show where we give our opinion about whether or not you should hear the album before you die. Every song on here has merit, and that is because of the vocal stylings of Mark Hollis. Maybe there was a young fellow getting ready to walk into a studio when this album came out, and that guy's name was Rick Astley. And he goes, I'm going to use a big voice too. The world may never know, in spite of the length of the tracks, because you can always press skip. Ultimately, this is a Talk album that you should hear before you die. It should be heard. I hope that the album with It's My Life is on the list because that song is fantastic. Listen to The Color of Spring and I Am Out. And that has an O-U in it, just like the word color.
All right, I am going to say no, you don't have to listen to The Color of Spring before you die. As much as I liked a lot of the material on here, cohesively, it is what it is. It's a transitional album. I personally would rather listen to Spirit of Eden, the album that comes after this, where everything is spaced out and Mark Hollis shows, what he is truly at heart, and that is a jazz fan. I'm not going to say I didn't like this album, though. It did have a lot of merit to it, and Mark Hollis truly was one of a kind as far as performer and singer in the 80s. But ultimately, I'm going to say no, this is not an album you must hear before you die. A couple other Talk albums are on here, Jack, so we'll see if It's My Life is one of them. Adam?
So many albums, so little time. I think I'm going to say pass on The Color of Spring. And I think I would say go check out a Talk Greatest Hits album first. If you like what you hear, then maybe you dive deeper. Hit Life Is What You Make It, Living in Another World, maybe give it up on this album and then move on. Because, as Mark Hollis once sang, it's your life. Don't you forget, aka do what you want. But I'm giving it a pass this week on The Color of Spring.
Well, something you can't give it a pass to, Professor Adam, is passing on your chance to spin that wheel again. You've got album number 60. Let's go.
Next up on the Wheel of Albums, Tom Waits, who just wants to entertain drifters, vagabonds, hobos, and barflies on his 1982 release, Swordfish Trombones. So come along underground as we check out Tom next week on the Wheel of Albums.
Hey, give us a follow on Spotify if you're listening. We've got new episodes almost each Monday. Comment if you'd like. People are doing that on YouTube. We appreciate that. Subscribe there as well. Thanks, everyone. Have a good week. See you next week for Swordfish Trombones.
Maybe it wouldn't be 6 minutes and 30 seconds long without the children's choir. Maybe, the kids said that they want to be there all day until snack time, dragging things out. Everything slows down around him. Now you can, you're seeing in 5 dimensions. Maybe he's from outer space. Jettisoning heavy synth. That's Adam's genre. Adam is in charge of all tambourine-related track identifications.